Good morning, primary class. This is your Tuesday lesson. When Paul and Barnabas decided to go back to visit the believers in the church where they had gone on their first trip, Barnabas took young Mark with him to Cyprus, and Paul took Silas with him to the other places. One of the cities to which Paul and Silas went was Lystra, where Paul had been stoned and where Timothy lived. How happy Paul was to learn that the Christians in Lystra had been faithful to Jesus. Paul had not forgotten Timothy. He was sure that God had a very special work for him. Also, the impression made on Timothy's mind when Paul was stoned had become stronger. Now he was sure that he wanted to be a missionary for Jesus. Paul carefully found out all he could about Timothy. He soon learned how well Timothy's mother and grandmother had taught him the Bible, and he knew that Timothy truly loved Jesus. Imagine how thrilled Timothy was when Paul asked him to go with him. He would be a real missionary, even though he was young. Imagine how happy Timothy's mother and grandmother were that Timothy could be with Paul. Timothy packed the things he would need as he traveled. He said goodbye to his parents and grandmother, and he went with Paul and Silas. Now here's your question. Timothy could have been frightened by the things that had happened to Paul and never chosen to be a missionary. Why didn't he need to be afraid? Now, it gives us two verses that help us to understand why he didn't need to be afraid. The first one is found in Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20. And that says, "And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you." And here's the important part. "And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world." And then in Joshua 1:9, now this is a very, very common one that we've probably had as a memory verse at one time or another. So let's see if you remember it when I read it to you. "Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest." So I'll ask you the question again. Why didn't he need to be afraid?